Hello, friends and family around the world. This is Will Barney from Enoch Global Services here with another global update here on Thursday. This is July 16th, 2026, and wow, are things moving fast now. We have so much to cover, but we're going to be focusing on some very specific things that actually went down over the last 48 hours that are going to be very significant with how this plays out globally throughout the world. Today's episode is titled, The Hunters Have Become the Hunted. This is going to make more sense as we go throughout the program today, as we get into the gist of what occurred. Donald Trump gave a primetime address today, this evening, and we are covering some of that. So this is going up a little bit later than normal, but we wanted to make sure we had this covered, and boy, was it worth it. A lot is going on. We're going to get into the gist of that here in just a little bit. But as we look at get to our slides here and get started, we're going to cover, as we typically do, a little bit with the economic news first. Donald Trump posted this, which is a Fox Business alert, a little bit about the economic status of what's going on. This, of course, went up yesterday. But let's take a listen to what happened here. Great numbers with the CPI inflation numbers and how that's relating to the stock market and all the other markets. Take a look.
Okay, so month over month, we came down 0.4%. So negative read on the headline month to month. We were looking for 0.1% to the downside. We got 0.4 to the downside. All right, year over year, listen to this. 3.5%. The street was looking for a gain of 3.8%. We got 3.5%, and last month's read was 4.2. So look at that decline there. Okay, core month over month CPI flat, 0. The street was looking for a gain of 0.2%. And then also core year over year, all of this better than expected. 2.6% is the core number. We were looking for 2.8%. That is also a nice decline from last month.
So the numbers are looking good. As you can see, everything's in the green there. Stock market was up yesterday, 52,797 for the Dow, 75,97 on the NASDAQ, and of course, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ being 29,865. So great numbers all the way around as we look at the markets. Meanwhile, Donald Trump posted this. Now, this is going to be kind of a recap of what we talked about on the 6th of July. But take a look at this. It's about the Trump accounts, but this is good news, and I thought it was important to share.
Today, we're thrilled to officially launch the Trump accounts. On Saturday, July 4th, our administration deposited one-time seed contributions of $1,000 each into the Trump accounts of over 500,000 American children.
We're very excited to be here at the White House today to celebrate the launch of the Trump accounts and the meaningfulness that it has for our family of 6 and the families all across the country.
We're so happy to be here at the White House celebrating the Trump accounts. We're so proud of President Trump and the work he's done to help give this guy a little start.
We wanted to thank you for giving a once-in-a-generation opportunity to kids like mine with the announcement of your Trump accounts.
Today I got to go into the Oval Office for the bell ringing. I actually have a small business of my own, and having the Trump accounts is going to be very helpful for my business to be able to grow.
We just wanted to say thank you to President Trump for opening the Trump accounts for trading and helping us jumpstart our child's future.
The great thing about Trump accounts is they deliver on the promise of ownership and skin in the game from birth. They also build an appreciation for our great country. And we're proud to serve as the initial broker and trustee for this amazing program.
And today we're here for a first. So Jeff, do you want to talk about it being a first?
This is a first. It's a first that you and I are together ringing a bell.
It is the first time in our history that NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange have come together. And we've come together for the Trump accounts, which is truly an incredible creation that President Trump has led for us.
This Trump account is so important to our country that we had to set aside our differences for one day and say, let's get together and let's really make sure that everyone understands that capitalism and the ability to participate in this country is the best thing that we can give to the next generation.
And so every newborn in this country can get a Trump account where they get money put into it, an investment account that they can save for their entire childhood, and they can be a part of the U.S. economy. We're very excited.
So good news all around on the Trump accounts. We're giving the children a future that many of us probably didn't have, certainly not opportunities such as this. Another bit of good news here coming from our Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, talking about the amazing investments going on in the technology field. Let's listen to Howard.
This is a really exciting day because TSMC, the largest semiconductor manufacturing company in the world, just committed an additional $100 billion to build factories that make the semiconductor chips, the leading edge, the best in the world, the smallest, the most sophisticated in the world, semiconductor chips right here in America. That extra $100 billion moves them up to $265 billion of factory commitment, all being built in Arizona. This is the Trump administration, two companies, $265 billion by TSMC, $250 billion by Micron, more than $500 billion of domestic semiconductor manufacturing coming home to America.
This is great news. I did take a look at a couple of TSMC plants that were under construction in Arizona. They are massive. Once these are completed, the output in Arizona will surpass everything that they have done previously in Taiwan. It will be an incredible push for America and for the technology sector. Moving on now to Iran. A whole lot going on in the last 48 hours. Iran's infrastructure is now being demolished. We're talking about all kinds of things. Dan Scavino posted this. Take a look. Wow. Of course, the indication is that there's going to be no more tolls in the strait. Look at this attack that took place here today. U.S. strikes Iranian infrastructure. United States is now targeting Iranian infrastructure following through on President Trump's warning that Tehran would face escalating consequences for its continued aggression. Incredible what's happening there. Fox News talked a little bit about these events and some of the stuff that went down. Jesse Waters had something to say.
Fox News alert, it's infrastructure week in Iran. Their coastline's getting hammered. We're cutting off power and took out some major bridges, snapping their supply lines in half. Iranian state media is reporting their key railway station's a fireball. That station handles over 100 million tons of cargo a year from the strait. It also sends oil to China. Now, that's not all. Last night, we took out command centers, air defenses, missile and drone sites, and coastal surveillance facilities all up and down the enemy coastline, and even hit targets deep inside near their capital. The blockade's holding strong. Today, Marines boarded a vessel, MT Wen Yao, in the Gulf of Oman to ensure compliance. Since the wall went back up, one blockade runner was disabled with a Hellfire missile. 3 turned around.
So things are getting very intensive there in Iran. And are they going to come to the table? Is the deal going to be made? Looks like the U.S. is moving forward, and Donald Trump is keeping his word. U.S. Central Command posted this just today. The U.S. Marines from the 11th Marine Expeditionary Unit conducted a verification aboard MT Wen Yao in the Gulf of Oman, July 16th. As of today, American forces have redirected 3 commercial vessels trying to run the blockade, disabled one that didn't comply, and boarded one to ensure full compliance with the ongoing U.S. naval blockade against Iran. Strait of Hormuz and the surrounding waters remained free and open, except for vessels attempting to violate America's steel wall blockade of Iran. So a lot going on there by Central Command. There's over 50,000 troops in the area. The U.S. successfully completes new strikes on Iran. Today at 9:40 p.m. Eastern, U.S. Central Command completed its latest major wave of strikes against Iran, including fighter jets, aerial drones, warships, launched precision munitions that hit dozens of Iranian military targets, such as coastal surveillance, air defense sites, military logistics infrastructure, and maritime capabilities. This was the 6th consecutive night of U.S. strikes against Iran. At the Commander-in-Chief's direction, CENTCOM is further degrading Iranian military capabilities and holding Iran accountable for recent attacks on commercial shipping. More than 50,000 U.S. service members are operating across the Middle East and remain vigilant, lethal, and ready. So it just continues going on there in Iran. We're going to have to wait and see if they're going to come to the table and get something done here. Donald Trump couldn't help himself. He had to post a little video about this epic event going on this week. So, of course, that was made with AI, but it shows a little bit about what's going on there. I don't see how Iran can handle much more of this. They've been cut off economically and in every way at the moment. Now, getting to the gist of some things that are going on here in America, and particularly with the title of today's episode, The Hunters Become the Hunted. First off, we had a ministerial held today, ministerial on the resurgence of political terrorism. Many countries were here in attendance, and we had some incredible speeches, one of which was given here by Secretary Marco Rubio, as we look at all of the things that have been going on with extreme leftist rhetoric that has been pushing towards violence and everything going on with many of these. Take a listen to what Marco had to share here, and we will get to also some comments from Scott Besson as well.
Marco Rubio today pushing allies to confront what he calls a growing far-left terror threat, telling more than 60 countries that violence has become a global problem.
We are facing a transnational threat. These are not distinct and isolated cells. They are interconnected networks. It has always been driven by a hatred, above all else, a hatred for civilization itself. It is perpetrated by those who cannot build, who cannot create, who cannot achieve great things, and take their revenge upon the world for their own inadequacy by seeking to destroy those who can. This is what radical leftism is.
Correspondent Alexandria Hoff is at the State Department for us. Hi, Alex.
Hi, John. Yeah, as you heard there was a lot of emotion in Secretary Rubio's remarks today. It really centered around dispelling this idea that these far left-wing groups are maybe too disorganized, they lack any kind of central force, or that they're too fringe to be an urgent threat. He said that is not the case. Listen.
We've been taught to believe that this kind of political violence, it simply doesn't exist, or it's being exaggerated. But it does exist, and we're actually underestimating it. And our nations bear the scars to prove it.
The Secretary highlighting that many of the 65 nations represented today share a distant and a recent history of targets of far-left extremism. Today's summit really was a call for solidarity in this amplified fight to combat what the administration sees as escalating violence at the hands of far left-wing groups.
So a lot of discussion there, but Marco Rubio getting right to the heart of it. I'm going to play some more of his comments because I think they're very relevant here. 65 nations gathering for this ministerial on the danger of this left-wing political rhetoric and what it's doing in terms of terrorism. This is a distinctive and unique evil. It has always been driven by hatred above all else for civilization itself. Listen to his comments here.
This is a distinctive and unique evil. It has always been driven by a hatred, above all else, a hatred for civilization itself. It is a revolt of the worst against the best, a revolt of the weak and the cowardly against the strong and the good. It is perpetrated by those who cannot build, who cannot create, who cannot achieve great things, and take their revenge upon the world for their own inadequacy by seeking to destroy those who can. This is what radical leftism is. It may wear various different slogans and ideologies across place and time. They can call themselves anti-capitalist or anti-imperialist or communist or anarchist or Marxist, but the fundamental character is always the same. It's always the same. It is a poisonous resentment cloaked in the language of equality and justice and liberation, an overwhelming need to tear down what greater men have built, to wreck what is beautiful and what is right on behalf of people who are only filled with ugliness and have nothing else to offer the world. Through violence and through terror, they once again seek to impose their ugliness on all of us. The old dogma was wrong. The old dogma was wrong. None of this is driven by idealism. It is not utopian. In fact, it is the opposite. One of the criticisms you sometimes hear of communism, for example, is that it sounds good in theory, but it never works in practice. That's actually not true. Communism does not sound good in theory. The world it envisions for all of us is small, flat, gray, leveled of all exception, drained of all that is good and noble in the human soul. The world it envisions is a world without courage, a world without creativity or ambition, a world without heroes or glory or great causes to strive towards, a world without miracles, without myths, without men who rise above the rest to do incredible and extraordinary things. And the world communism envisions is a world without God. For these architects of revolutionary violence, the towering achievement of our civilization, for them, it's an unbearable humiliation, a reminder of what they cannot do, and a reminder of what they cannot be. So they choose instead to destroy. They attack pipelines, they attack railroads, they attack power grids and laboratories, the physical embodied symbols of power and invention and achievement. This is the nature of the terrorism we face today. They despise the West because the West is great.
I encourage everybody to, if you get an opportunity to listen to the entirety of his speech, I think it will go down as one of the greatest speeches given by a Secretary of State in the U.S. 65 nations, again, in attendance there for this, as every country's dealing with this. Now, what's interesting is there are some countries that are communistic around the world, and the U.S. is not shying away from this topic and what's going on with these. Another one that spoke today was Stephen Miller. He is the Deputy Chief of Staff for Donald Trump, and he had some things to say on the subject as well. And again, very pointed, very direct.
In the United States, we have taken the necessary and essential action of formally recognizing left-wing violence as a form of political terrorism that is a direct threat to our national security and the survival of our Republican form of government. President Trump issued a directive, in our parlance, it's called a National Security Presidential Memorandum, or NSPM, NSPM 7 to be exact, that directs for the first time in American history all of our law enforcement and intelligence agencies to work together to disrupt, identify, defund, debank, arrest, and prosecute these political terrorists that are operating in our country. It's very important to understand that left-wing political terrorism seeks as its ultimate end the overthrow of our system and form of government. And we've seen this has taken place many times in many places throughout the years, and Secretary Rubio has provided you many examples. Left-wing terrorism always ends in bloodshed, misery, and suffering. It only can travel in one direction. There's no point at which the left-wing terrorist is satisfied with his gains and ceases progressing. Inevitably, left to run its course, it always becomes a gulag. It always becomes the mass imprisonment of political enemies, the stripping of their rights and freedoms, inflicting immense pain, humiliation, suffering, in order to establish complete and total control. Control through psychological and physical and actual terror. And we have to understand that that is the scope and the extent of the threat that we face.
Great words by Stephen Miller there. I want to thank Julie Donuts for sharing this morning. Thank you, Julie, for letting us use this. Very important as we look at this. Why are we talking about this particular topic, and how is this part of the hunters becoming the hunted? This is being directed because we need to understand the threats that we face. This is a threat that's already within the borders of the United States. It's been operating for a number of years. This is not an outside influence. This is within, trying to seek to destroy the country, and it's now being addressed directly. Those that are pushing these particular activities are against the United States. They are anti-American. They are seeking to destroy the country. They have been hunting us for some time. Now we hunt them. Now we turn the tide, and this is all beginning. The celebrations are over. We finished the 250-year celebrations. Now we're getting down to business. Now we're cleaning up what we got to clean up. The next several months are going to be very interesting, and there's so much more to cover on this topic of hunting. Scott Bessent had something to say here that surprised me because I didn't know anything about this before he mentioned this, but he too has been the target even of assassination. Take a look.
To remind everyone in this room and all the media that I was the subject of an assassination attempt February 2024 by an addled left-wing activist 2 hours after being sworn into my job. So any of you who want to report that this is a fiction and does not exist, be there for the sentencing this August.
So the person that was perpetrating this is going to be sentenced in August for his crimes. I imagine they will be quite severe. Donald Trump gave a primetime address this evening at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. It was on voter fraud that's been occurring across the nation. And we're going to cover this a bit extensively tonight because this is the crux of whether we are a nation or not. The whole point of this is that if we don't have free and fair, honest elections, we have no government by and for the people. Donald Trump laid out some very interesting allocations. What's interesting about that is that every intelligence agency had a chance to vet his speech for accuracy prior to him giving it. They all gave the okay that it was honest and accurate, and he had a lot to say. Eric Daughtery posted this. President Trump has immediately ordered DNI and DOJ to explore criminal charges after it was confirmed CIA and deep state officials withheld crucial information that China meddled in our elections. Today, I'm asking the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, Department of Justice, the FBI, the CIA to investigate how and why such crucial information was hidden, to fire those involved in the cover-up and defile criminal charges, if appropriate, against these people. So take a listen to Trump's speech.
Today, I'm asking the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the CIA to investigate how and why such crucial information was hidden, to fire those involved in the cover-up, and to file criminal charges, if appropriate, against these people. Yet concealing China's meddling was only the beginning. The third set of documents we are releasing proves that for many years, Americans were blatantly lied to about the security of our election infrastructure, including electronic voting machines and ballot counting systems, dishonest, almost all. They're vulnerable and they're easily compromised, and people within our government knew that.
In another segment of the speech here, which was posted by Rapid Response 47, newly declassified documents show that over a period of years, starting during the 2020 election cycle, the People's Republic of China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history, resulting in China's illicit acquisition of 220 million U.S. voter files. That information includes names, addresses, phone numbers, political party preferences, other sensitive data that would be needed to register to vote and engage in nefarious activities. 220 million, it could have been you. If you were in the U.S., that could have been you. And they have your data, unfortunately. Listen to this part of the speech.
First, they show that over a period of years, starting during the 2020 election cycle, the People's Republic of China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history, resulting in China's illicit acquisition of 220 million U.S. voter files. That information includes names, addresses, phone numbers, political party preferences, and other sensitive data that would be needed to register to vote and engage in other nefarious activities, which is exactly what was happening. This data loss presents an unprecedented election security nightmare. The intelligence even shows that China has signed a data exploitation unit specifically to this new project.
Previously in the week, we talked about the fact that he would probably approach this subject tonight. Now he's coming at it head on. The White House releasing intelligence data, declassifying data from multiple agencies, all in this regard. Tomorrow morning, we will have another press conference by the Department of Homeland Security, additionally on this, because they oversee the Department of Digital Information and Encryption. And they're going to be reporting on this. So this is just the opening salvo. For those of you that don't understand, when this information drops, it's going to take us months, several months, to dig through, pull all this information out, dissect it, make it available to the people. So I'm looking at this is the beginning of what's going to be several months of revealing this information. Where does this all lead? I think what it leads to us is that we have a problem. And the problem is that our government has been stolen. We have people elected that were not selected by the people. And even as we have an upcoming election coming in November, with all this talk of the Save America Act and voter integrity so that we have a clean and fair election, this coming November, even if everything worked perfect and we had no collusions, no vote flipping, no anything going on, do we have a free and fair election? The answer is no, because all of the previous work earlier this year, all of the primary elections held in each of the different states, were all done with this equipment. The vote stealing, the vote cheating, the fraudulent stuff. It's already gone on. So the people that were selected to be the candidates on the ballot in November may have never been selected by we the people. So now we have some issues here, and we're going to be sorting this out over the next couple of months. Where does this lead? I think it could lead to a pause and a reset of election here in America. Will we have it in November? We'll wait and see if this can be straightened out. There seems to be some rather large doubts cast on the fact that we could fix it civilly within the government, that perhaps it may require more of a military type of action. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out. In another section of the speech, Donald Trump said this: our purpose in disclosing this information is not to weaken confidence in election, but to earn that confidence by confronting vulnerabilities and correcting them very, very quickly. Listen to this part.
Every American deserves to know that when they cast their vote, that vote will be counted accurately in a system, and that is to make that system secure, one where cheating and interference are not just difficult, but virtually impossible. Unfortunately, the system we have today falls catastrophically short of that standard. Tonight, I'm announcing the immediate declassification and release of critical intelligence revealing shocking vulnerabilities in our election infrastructure. This evidence shows that the election system we have dangerously exposes, and really exposes like levels never thought possible, to hacking, exploitation, and foreign interference. Just as disturbingly, this vital information has for many years been covered up and hidden from you, the American people, our beautiful, our great American people. But that all changes right now. The documents we will release starting tonight have been gathered by the White House Government Transparency Task Force, a great group of people, along with the staff of the President's Intelligence Advisory Board, supported by our top intelligence agency chiefs, who have all personally reviewed the findings. We are presenting this evening and fully confirmed their authenticity. You can see these documents for yourself at whitehouse.gov. That's whitehouse.gov. Go check it out. Our purpose in disclosing this information is not to weaken confidence in election, but to earn that confidence by confronting vulnerabilities and correcting them very, very quickly. And that's what we're doing.
So we've got a lot of work to do to get this stuff cleaned up here. Donald Trump posted this. This is the 2020 Intelligence Council memorandum talking about how everything was fine in the election. Of course, revealing all this. Now there's going to be more documents coming. Rapid Response posted this brief video of John Solomon from Just the News. He's been working with the government over the last few months in trying to sort through various bits of data to help with this. There were some things he couldn't say earlier in the week, but he is now saying now that the president's given his speech. Let's listen to what John has to say here.
Reporters look at the National Intelligence Council assessment from January of 2020. There are 6 things it was assessed. This means all the intelligence community agrees together. 6 things they can do. They can vote in your name, and you would show up one day and you wouldn't be able to vote because they'll tell you someone else voted for you. They could register you in another location. You would never know that they voted for you in another location because they have all your data, everything they need to fill out a legitimate registration form. They could go and change something on your address, and when you showed up with your ballot or with your ID, it's like, oh, you're not that person. You're registered at another address. All of those things were imagined by our intelligence community. They warned about it. They called it the softest of vulnerabilities, the most severe vulnerabilities our system had. It gets hacked, and then they don't tell any of us. You know, we get informed when our bank accounts are taken. Why shouldn't we get informed when our voter records are taken?
So this was reported by John Solomon. Of course, this is on CBS News. There were 2 networks that refused to carry the president's speech and information. That was ABC and NBC. You need to think about who you listen to and who you watch, because if you are opposed to voter integrity and to truth, I don't know that those are channels you'd want to listen to. In another segment here, again, this is CBS News, but another segment here with John, as there was a back and forth going on here. He said, we checked the presidential daily briefs. The president was kept from all of this information. So take a look.
Listen, I talked to the intelligence chiefs in the last few days as we got prepared for this. It's very important to understand, the president said this tonight, every intelligence chief vetted this speech. They made sure it was accurate. They told me they had never been briefed on the size of the breaches, the 230 million Americans, the 220 million Americans whose data was stolen, that they consider it a security breach. How many times on your network have you reported that 5 countries are capable of hacking our election machines? When is the last time you reported that Venezuela actually succeeded in breaching a machine which has implications for our future security? You haven't, because it was never made public. It has not been made to Congress. It's not been told to the president in the past. We checked the presidential daily briefs. A president was kept from this information. Now we have a chance to fix a glass chin of election security, make the 26th election more secure.
Wow. There's a lot of stuff here. We're going to be digging through this for some time. AAG Harmeet Dillon posted this, excited to launch the joint with the Justice Department and DHS election integrity website, an interactive map showing what actions the federal government is taking to improve election security, transparency, and integrity for Americans. This will be updated regularly. We're going to take a look at this website. Here's one of the first images here. Of course, it's got Donald Trump there as he's giving the speech, and as you scroll down, it does show an interactive map. We have one state highlighted here. This is the state of Kentucky, but you can click on your state, and it brings up the various actions that have been taken on fixing these problems. This will continue to be updated as they continue to make more actions based upon the data that has now been declassified. So I would suggest that you go to their website, take a look at this, see what's happening in your own state, talk with your elected officials, and you can be briefed, if you will, in this way on what's going on in each of the states to fix these problems. CIA Director John Ratcliffe had this to say, to support President Trump's transparency initiatives, CIA has taken significant steps, including providing declassified documents for public release. Protecting our democracy and the integrity of our elections from foreign influence and interference remains paramount. This is why we produced key intelligence reporting showing that Venezuela's government had developed capabilities to manipulate electronic voting systems, raising serious concerns for U.S. election infrastructure security. I have long publicly highlighted China's nefarious efforts to influence the 2020 election against President Trump, as evidenced by my dissent to the flawed January 2021 intelligence community assessment. The documents declassified today shed further light on China's intentions. These matters deserve public scrutiny to ensure our democracy's foundation, the security and public confidence in our elections, is unassailable. CIA Director John Ratcliffe. So the CIA is now working with the Patriots to bring out truth and transparency. What a nice turn of events after being led by the dark side for so long. This brought me to take a look at some of the Q drops to see how this correlated with what happened today. And of course, drop number 11, this goes all the way back to October 29th of 2017, the 11th drop by Q. Let's read it. Key: military intelligence versus FBI, CIA, NSA. No approval or congressional oversight. State secrets upheld under Supreme Court. Who is the commander-in-chief of the military? Of course, we know today it's Donald Trump. Under what article can the president impose military intelligence take over the investigations for the three-letter agencies. What conditions must present itself? Why is this so very important? Who surrounds POTUS? They lost this very important power, the one area of the government not corrupt and directly serves the President of the United States. Of course, that is military intelligence. So look at these incredible things that Q was giving us all the way back in 2017, all the way to 9 years ago. Okay, almost 9 years ago, this drop occurred, all leading to this very day. This has been an epic process to systematically, by law and order, take back this country and bring it back to freedom. The White House posted this this evening. The U.S. election system is broken. Here's what the disclosures reveal. First, hundreds of millions of American voter files in the hands of foreign governments. Voting machines and ballot counting systems exposed to hacking and manipulation. China and other adversaries actively trying to meddle in the elections. Evidence of fraud being buried. Hundreds of thousands of non-citizens and dead people still active on the voter rolls. No voter ID, no proof of citizenship required. Tens of millions of mail-in ballots floating unsecured. Enough is enough. A year ago, Donald Trump issued an executive order for all of the counties throughout America, over 5,000 counties, to do a complete cleaning of their voter rolls, to clean out dead people, to clean out non-citizens, and all of this. Not one county has completed that task. So what do you do when there is no civil remedy? Let's watch and find out as this unfolds. This is going to be biblical. As a little bit of flashback here, I wanted to play this brief segment by Hillary Clinton. Now keep in mind, China stole 220 million voter records. This is individuals here in America. Listen to what Rachel Maddow and Hillary Clinton, listen to this discussion they're having about China.
The only other adversary of ours who's anywhere near as good as the Russians is China. So why should Russia have all the fun? And since Russia is clearly backing Republicans, why don't we ask China to back us?
I hereby tonight ask China.
That's right. And not only that, China, if you're listening, why don't you get Trump's tax returns? I'm sure our media would richly reward you.
There it is, folks. Do we need more evidence of what's been going on? Will the Democrat Party survive the evidence being thrown out here? Will justice come? Will there be a Democrat Party when this is over? What they have done is treasonous to our nation. We will wait and see. At the Brookings Institute, a far left-leaning, I would say, institution, there was a speech given here, and I wanted to play this brief part of the speech, okay, where they're talking about their greatest concerns about what could possibly be done by Donald Trump that could stop them. Take a listen to their concerns. Tell me they're not scared. Take a look.
The first, a scenario in which Trump finds a pretext, invokes the Insurrection Act, and tries to impose martial law. Elections, therefore, could be canceled, or if they happen, he could surround polling places with military and federal law enforcement to intimidate voters. The second option is harder to track, but can still swing an election. Labeling opposition groups, candidates, and elected officials as terrorists or criminals, and going after the infrastructure that allows for competitive elections.
They're freaking out. They're freaking out. What must be in place for this to occur? If there is no civil remedy, would Donald Trump have the legal standing to, because of all the evidence that's now being declassified and dropped to all the people, could he then take action under the Insurrection Act and fix this, which would really be done militarily? Well, they seem to be very, very concerned that's what he's going to do. But they've set the stage for it, haven't they, by their own actions? In other news, we're going to wrap this segment up tonight. We've covered a lot here with the voter fraud. This is only the beginning, opening salvo, folks. We have a lot more to cover over the coming months on this topic. Donald Trump shared this, and I thought it was a nice, brief exchange about this whole issue of the Supreme Court overturning the birthright citizenship issue, where people were coming to America just to have babies so they can claim citizenship for their baby in the country. And because the Supreme Court has overturned Donald Trump's executive order, this is now throwing it back to Congress to do something about this issue. It looks like they're working on it. Take a look.
President Trump is also urging Congress to act on birthright citizenship after the Supreme Court struck down his executive order, which banned birthright. Congressman, you've introduced the Birthright Claim Act in the House. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so Kavanaugh, in his concurrence opinion on that opinion from the Supreme Court, kind of gave Congress a path. He basically said Congress needs to act, the president can't do it on its own, and said that two illegal immigrants or illegals in our country who come into the country to simply have a child, so that child is an American citizen, is not appropriate, and Congress can regulate that. If you read his concurrence, he kind of laid out a path for Congress to change it. So as soon as we read that, we started drafting a bill that would do exactly that. If the parents of the child are not citizens of our country, then that child automatically cannot become a citizen of our country. This would end the birth tourism industry that is going on. So we had an intelligence hearing yesterday, and there was a witness that testified that 1.5 million children have been born of Chinese descent in a birthright tourism type industry, where they come into the country, they are born here, so now they're an American citizen, and then they go back to China. There's no other country. There's like 3 other countries in the world that do it, and it's a list of countries like the Congo. I had dinner with a group from Guatemala yesterday. They don't allow these type of things to happen. There's no country in the world that allows these things to happen, and if Congress has to regulate it, we filed a bill to do it. Jim Banks has a bill on the Senate side to do it. I'm just afraid of the timeline now, because you've only got a few months left in Congress. But these are the type of things that conservatives want done. This is why we want an immigration bill in the House to vote on, and this should be a part of it.
Yeah, that's all great points. In fact, then, once they are born here, they have the ability to vote. Whether they're in China much of their life or not, they can still vote here because they're American citizen. So the birthright citizenship is a real issue.
Big deal going on there. Very big deal. And it looks like Congress could pass legislation regarding this. Eric Daugherty posted this. Wow, Secretary of War P. Hegg said just won in court. U.S. Appeals Court has overturned the lower ruling and allows the Pentagon to block fake news like the New York Times from freely roaming the halls of the Pentagon, which could jeopardize national security information. They are likely to succeed on their argument that this policy does not violate the First Amendment. What does this mean? What this means is that Secretary of War Pete Hegseth had kicked many of the fake news media outlets out of the Pentagon. They're not allowed to wander the halls, gather information, and throw things out there. He felt there was a lot of leaks going on. It looks like the court's now upheld that decision. That is good news for the integrity of the Department of War and to keep leaks to a minimum, particularly when they're coming from the media. I think as we look at the election integrity issue, leaks from the Pentagon, all these others, they all have something in common. The media was in on it. Isn't that interesting? Are we going to see some justice come? Perhaps we will. We're going to see how this plays out. Donald Trump made some comments tonight about this, about some of these media sources who get free billions of dollars worth of free and open broadcasting capability are not telling the truth, and they seem to be in on the enemy's plan to take the country down. So we're going to see more about this. Dr. Oz posted this. It's a video of him with journalist Nick Shirley, who's been working very hard trying to expose fraud throughout the country, the medical system, etc. He started in Minnesota, but he's been all over the country, California, New York, and other places. And he and Dr. Oz actually did a brief segment in New York City, and now they're kind of giving some feedback on some of the comments that were given on that video that they did from Queens, New York. I thought this was actually very good and a little funny in a few places. Take a look.
An honest biopsy of the tweets we've gotten for the Queen's videos and others. So I'll go first. Or you want to go first? You go first.
Mine says, by the way, Nick Shirley couldn't identify fraud if it was written in bold letters. It doesn't need to be in bold letters. It just says Learning Center.
That's right. That's perfect. Dr. Oz is a doctor in the same way that potato salad is salad. All right. Bitey.
This one says, Nick Shirley is the fraud.
Ooh.
Little they know I've saved America $200 million.
Yeah, very snarky. You know it's bad when Dr. Oz is the voice of reason in the room. That's clever.
Governor Hochul's press office said, this initiative extends mainly to 2-year-olds, but intellectually, you may be eligible.
To you? Hochul wrote that?
Yes.
Just priceless.
The governor of New York. Pretty crazy.
Y'all, Dr. Oz sucks so bad as a Jeopardy host. Oh, I thought it was pretty good. That's a hard job. Got all those boxes. All right.
This one says, I know, right? People like Nick Shirley can just pretend to find fraud and abuse, and MAGA will just eat it up with a spoon, even though there's no evidence whatsoever, and Nick Shirley never needs to provide it. Hence why nobody has been arrested. It's all fake.
Oh, there have been people arrested. You arrested
Lots of people.
Hundreds of people that are following the news, or they're following the wrong news, or the fake news. Okay, we have agents with years of experience, yet this is what our government supports. This is like putting the dumbest cop on the force on a high-profile murder case.
This case is talking to us. I'm a peacock, Captain. You gotta let me fly on this one.
These are actually clever.
Yeah, these are good. Governor Newsom, Nick Shirley right now. Hey, can I see your kids?
Oh, look at that.
Look at that one.
Look at that. That's ugly. All right. Yo. When are the big dogs doing the fraud, getting arrested, and their assets seized? What will change? They're challenging us.
They're
It's an
challenging us.
ultimatum.
They're challenging you. You gotta go out and get them. This is a good one. Why is there a kid named Nick Shirley hanging with Dr. Oz? Were all the other professionals busy that day?
I got the best one.
All right, let's hear it.
I think Nick Shirley will make a great addition to the Trump administration finding fraud. Wow.
People want it.
You interested?
We'll see. Thank you.
All right.
I like doing stuff on my own.
Well, he's good at doing stuff on his own. All right, keep it up. Godspeed.
Thank you very
I'm proud
much.
of you. I appreciate all you're doing.
Thank you.
You
I
make
appreciate it.
all of our jobs a little easier because you shed light in some of those dark corners and crevices that are scary and people don't want to look at, and it's uncomfortable. But when you care about someone, you tell them the truth because they need to hear it. And
exactly.
That's what we learn in medical school, you know. Most important thing is tell the patient the truth, and even if they don't want to hear it, because they'll respect you. They might not like you, but they'll respect you, and you're doing that for us.
Thank you very much.
God bless. Nick Shirley.
That was fun.
Dr. Oz and Nick Shirley trying to expose fraud, particularly in New York State here most recently. And these just some comments there. I thought you would enjoy that. In other news here, Ashton Forbes posted this. We have Devin Nunes, who is the head of Trump Media Technology Group, and it's merging with TAE. TAE is a technology company working on fusion technology. Take a listen to this. This is actually very fascinating.
This is breakthrough technology. When this is done, and I don't say this lightly, this will be the most important discovery and invention since the first Manhattan Project. So we did a lot of searching, John, all over the United States. We looked at a lot of the emerging nuclear power companies, and there's nothing that stands, that holds a candle to this company. So look, we want to be right in the middle of the most important issue at the highest level. What does America really need? When we started True Social, we needed free speech. We saved that. Now somebody's got to step up and do something to produce real energy in this country, and we're going to do it.
So we're going to see more about this topic of fusion energy coming here very soon. This could be a very big deal. Trump Media Technology Group merging with TAE. We're going to have to see how that plays out. But watch, because this is good. There's so much advanced technology that's been withheld, patents withheld, everything withheld from the people. We're entering the golden age now, and it's all going to come out. It's all going to come out, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to be incredible. And having a little bit of fun, because we like to throw a little bit of humor out there for it. Wanted to share this little segment. Fox News, of course, posted this. This wonderful woman gets a new tag for her car in Florida, and she's not happy with that tag. And surely somebody at the DMV was having a little bit of fun that day. Take a look.
Open it up, and at first I didn't notice. I was more concerned about it getting my sticker on. I said, wait a minute, something's not right here. And I looked at it, and I said, I don't think so. I don't think a woman that lives in a senior community that's going to be 77 years old next month will be driving around with what this plate has to say. Taking it out of the package. Yeah. Really? Really? No, DMV, no. That's what I said. And when I saw that together, I went ballistic. My sons both encouraged me to keep it instead of replacing it.
And how come?
They think it's hilarious. I guarantee you, whoever slipped this into the envelope was chuckling. Okay? Really?
A little bit of fun there. I agree. Somebody at the DMV may have been chuckling, perhaps a lot more than a chuckle. We want to close out today's segment with a couple of brief things from Donald Trump as we look at some of the great contributions he's made to America in restoring integrity, fixing the fraud, fixing the election system. We have so much to be grateful for from this man. We're going to finish up with a couple of brief videos here. Hope you enjoy it.
Stand by the Declaration of Independence, which is a great honor. I keep hearing so much about TikTok and all of the influence they have, and that how it's unfair and how it's this and that. But here's the only problem. I'm number one on TikTok. Can you believe it? I'm number one. Look at those numbers. Billions and billions of people are looking at Trump. And I keep hearing about the influence other people have. I don't know. How come I'm number one if they have so much influence? Here's your numbers, so I think we have influence too. And I'm saying, stop communism.
Donald was the young man who was going to conquer Manhattan.
He takes chances that would make a less daring man shudder.
To think about the arc of where he's been, it's like some sort of mythical story or something.
This sounds like political presidential talk to me.
Donald Trump seems to always get stronger when challenged.
My God, that guy's got resilience.
Those who deal with you underestimate you and live to regret it.
It's always good to be underestimated. It is not about politics. It's about our love for this great country, America, and we're not going to let it fail. I will fight like no one has ever fought before.
Trump is the bodyguard of Western civilization.
You want to talk about a fighter, a walk through fire? He's an absolute savage.
He knows that this is much bigger than him. This is about the American people. They have no idea what they have unleashed. He was ready to go face the cameras and come out swinging.
What will future Americans say we did in our brief time here on Earth? It will be defined by your vision, your perseverance, and your grit. Nothing will sway us, nothing will slow us, and no one will ever stop us. We are Americans. Ambition is our heritage. Greatness is our birthright, and the future belongs to us.
All 1 million
Thanks, everyone, for being with us today for another global update here on July 16th. The hunters become the hunted. There's so much more to cover on this topic as we're going to unfold over the next few months. Appreciate Donald Trump and all the work that he has done to help restore greatness, integrity, to help to restore the republic as it was initially envisioned by our forefathers. So much going on here, folks. I hope you've enjoyed these segments that we do. It does take quite a bit of time and effort putting these together. I've had a few people in the comments, or at least I was told this, that they were looking for how they can reach me. The way to do that is actually go to our website. Go to Enoch GS. That's Enoch Global Services, enochgs.com. Go to the homepage, scroll to the bottom. Maybe we need to move it to the top, but scroll to the bottom. There is a link there for a calendar to see if there's any available times in which you might be able to reach me. So you can do that. Again, enochgs.com homepage, scroll to the bottom. There's also a place there where you can register to be on our notification list. We're going to be updating the website over the next month or so, and hopefully you'll be seeing some new changes coming there that to make it a better experience for everyone and give a little bit more information about projects. And we won't have the project portal open yet. That'll be coming a little bit later, but you will be getting a lot more information on the updated website as we hopefully get this accomplished we try and do it over the next 30 days. So thanks everybody for all the work that you are doing to bless the world, to stand in your space, whether you're a digital warrior on the keyboard, working on the social media or other places, sharing information, or if you're just quietly working on your humanitarian projects to make this world unbelievable. I want to thank you for the effort, for all that you do. All of us working together can accomplish great things. We can build heaven on earth, and we're working on it right now. So I hope all this has been helpful. We love you. Thanks, everybody, for being with us again on another global update. We'll see you again next week as these events continue to unfold. They're coming fast and furious. We're going to try to stay on top of it for all of you, and I hope that this has been helpful. Again, have a wonderful weekend. See you next week. Thanks. Bye-bye.